Monaco, playground of the rich and famous, where winning is everything. Here the stakes are high, but no risk, no reward. To be victorious involves seizing opportunity, strategic thinking, and an element of glamour. It's the race every driver dreams of conquering. Welcome to Monaco. Welcome to the circuit. It was Red Bull's Daniel Ricciardo celebrating in the Principality this year, a victory he described as redemption after 2 years of Monaco frustration. Despite power issues, he held off a chasing Sebastian Vettel for his second win of the season, taking the checkered flag in his team's 250th race in Formula One. As so many other drivers will tell you, it's a win and a race that means so much more than most.
Important social events behind it, Monaco sets its sights on sporting thrills. 16 speedsters get away in the 14th Grand Prix of Monaco. It's one of the classic road races of the year.
I think you'll find any driver in the world would say this is the jewel in the crown, you know. Absolutely fantastic. Not just the atmosphere, which is enormous and real buzz, but just the whole thing of the weather and the people, the cars, the twistiness of it. You know, all of that goes along. Particularly in my era, a 100-lap race was terrific.
Sterling Moss of England leads all the way. Here's a case of a rolling Moss who gathers no stone.
It's always a magic place with the casino and the Hotel de Paris. You get close to the spectators, and it's very nice for a driver. Every year, you arrive here with Formula One. You go into your car, and every year, I had the same feeling. Oh, I'm going to be able to drive this car. It looks so big through the corner.
What makes the Monaco special for the Grand Prix? We are talking about the street circuit, very complicated track to drive. There's no room for the mistakes, very challenging. Timing is very crucial to be in the right place in the right time.
Monaco, as you can see, so much more than just the race, isn't it?
I think it is a very special place. It's a special track, but I think the atmosphere, the setting, the scenery just makes it different. Monaco has a lot of history, told a lot of stories about great drivers, their heroic acts or their mistakes. You know, it's all part of the race, and I guess in a way it's nice to be part of that story.
Do you remember your overriding feeling the first time you raced here in Formula One?
I think my first race here was in 2008, and it was wet. So the conditions you don't want to race in Monaco, basically. It was a tough race. It was the full 2 hours. I think I finished 5th. A very eventful race with a lot of people crashing out, doing mistakes, and yeah, I think that was a tough one, but obviously very enjoyable, you know, to score points at that point, which I wasn't used to, and in Monaco, good memories from the start.
There was that famous Nelson Piquet quote about driving in Formula One here is like cycling round your living room.
He must have had a big living room then, or a very small bicycle. But yeah, it is a little bit, I mean, it's very different. It's very narrow, there's no room for mistakes, and all of that makes it special as well, because it's part of Monaco. If Monaco would be a normal track, just with some houses nearby, it wouldn't be the same. You're right on the edge of the water, you're next to the houses, you go through tunnels, or one tunnel. Yeah, it does make it, you know, very different, and there's for sure a lot of adrenaline when you're in the car, because you know you have to get close to those rails, but don't touch them because that will be the end.
Do you see it as a battle between you and Lewis?
No, I think there's other people as well participating. So I see a lot of cars in my mirrors usually when I, park the car on the grid. But what I mean is that there's other people actually driving with us and fighting for the win. So, which I think we mustn't forget. So, for sure, Lewis is one of the main competitors, and knowing that he will be strong the whole season makes him one of the main rivals. But it's also a good thing if you pinpoint him as a main rival, because one of the main rivals, because it means that you're in a good place to fight for the championship.
Which of your rivalries in your career have you enjoyed the most? Which of the drivers have you enjoyed racing against the most?
Obviously, Fernando and Lewis, and now obviously Fernando is not in a position to fight that close, so it's more Lewis. But then you never know, you never know what the next year, what the next race brings, and who might come out having a good year, strong year. But certainly the most consistent ones over the years have been Fernando and Lewis.
Would you like Lewis as a teammate at some point?
I prefer Kimi, to give you my honest answer, but why not? I mean, if you ask me if I'm afraid of him, then no. He's not taller than me. I don't think he's heavier than me, so I may be unbeatable, but I don't, in the end you have to be prepared to race whoever comes along. I don't know what is his plan in the future, but surely if I had to pick, as I said, I'd pick Kimi, simply because there's no danger or threat of any politics or misunderstanding. Outside the track, outside the car, I find it a lot more enjoyable if you have mutual respect and just no unnecessary stuff to waste your energy.
Coming up, we honour Formula One's first female driver. Welcome back to Monaco, home of arguably the most prestigious race on the Formula One calendar, the venue where drivers write their place into history. And it was here 60 years ago that Italy's Maria Teresa Di Filippis became the first female driver in Formula One. She remains one of just 2 women to have lined up on the starting grid.
Nella mia vita sono stata stimolata da molte persone, ma soltanto da un tipo di automobile. La sensazione provata guidando una Maserati è stata una delle fonti più costanti di piacere nella mia vita.
E lì ho avuto occasione di conoscere la signora De Filippis, ho avuto occasione di conoscere tutti i corridori che passavano dalla Maserati, perché venivano a vedere i motori nuovi, i progressi che facevamo, le nuove soluzioni, eccetera. Le mie prime impressioni è stata di una persona molto determinata, che sapeva quello che voleva, era...
Women had raced at Le Mans in the 24-hour race since the 1920s, but there were no women in the Pucker Formula One World Championship until she came along in 1958. She was a bit of a surprise to most people, I think.
Da quello che mi raccontavano i miei colleghi, era una che non si tirava mica indietro davanti anche ai colleghi uomini. Lei non aveva nessuna soggezione e gli dicevano va piano, perché lei aveva del fegato. Non aspettava niente a voler essere davanti agli uomini. Lei si misurava normalmente, pertanto lei si sentiva alla pari di loro.
When she raced, she was extremely concentrated and she had an iron will to succeed. She was not a normal woman. She was exceptional in everything.
Noi avevamo una vettura che era una vettura straordinaria, che è stata il trampolino di lancio a tutti i corridori che sono poi arrivati alla Formula 1. Era minutina e allora di conseguenza non arrivava ai pedali. Abbiamo dovuto costruire un cuscino speciale perché lei potesse essere adattata alla posizione di guida.
Her first big challenge was when she entered the Monaco Grand Prix, which was the traditional opening of the European Championship season. And only 16 cars were allowed to start because Monaco is a very tight circuit, very narrow, quite short. So in 1958 she turned up with her Maserati, having finished 5th at Syracuse, and tried to qualify. She didn't make it, but she impressed people, journalists and so on, but that she was a serious competitor.
She was not very lucky because the car came late. The gearbox was not for the city race. Luigi Musso tried the car to find out if he can do a better time, and Sterling Moss came close. Hans Hermann did the same thing, and nobody of them did better than Maria Teresa.
Toto Roche, the director of the French Grand Prix at Reims, was a sort of larger-than-life character. He was noted for being rather kind of irascible and not a very tolerant race director. He said of Maria Teresa when she turned up on the circuit that the only helmets that women should wear should be in the hairdressing salon. Her best performance came in her next race at Spa, the Belgian Grand Prix, on a very, very fast and demanding circuit. She qualified for the race. She qualified last, and she was a long way off the pole position time. Nevertheless, she got into the race, and she did well enough to finish 10th. She was lapped a couple of times, but even completing a race on a circuit like that in those days was an achievement. But that was her only finish in Formula One. She entered 5 Grand Prix during her time, World Championship Grand Prix.
Signora Maria Teresa De Filippis non ha mai dato molta importanza alla cosa che lei fosse la prima donna a correre in Formula 1, ma lei non si considerava un fenomeno, per lei è stata una cosa naturale arrivare in Formula 1. Con la morte di Jean Barrat, che erano molto amici, lei ha deciso di troncare con le corse.
It's a big disappointment that there isn't a woman driver in Formula One. You know, it took nearly 20 years after Maria Teresa for Lella Lombardi to come along and be the first woman to finish in a point-scoring position in a Grand Prix. It's difficult to say what Maria Teresa's legacy is, except the memory that there was once a woman who took part in Grand Prix meetings and finished 10th in a race on a very, very hard circuit at a very challenging time for motor racing. You know, she did that. She's there for all time. And if I were a woman and thinking of taking part in top-level motor racing and trying to fight my way through, she'd be a bit of an inspiration.
When we return, the flying Finn, 2-time world champion Mika Häkkinen on winning the Monaco Grand Prix.
The chance to make a mistake in Monaco is very high, so you really have to put the extra effort all the time to make a good performance.
Welcome back to the circuit and the glamour of Monaco. Monaco may be no bigger than New York Central Park. The circuit here only holds 37,000 fans, but come race week, hundreds of thousands of people descend here just to get a taste of life in the fast lane.
This year, the lucky fans visiting on Sunday saw Daniel Ricciardo clinch his victory 20 years after 2-time world champion Mika Häkkinen secured the one and only Monaco win of his career.
It's amazing how quickly the time goes, okay? Time is flying. I think if this car would be metal, I think it would be rusty already. I have such great memories from 20 years ago about winning here in Monaco Grand Prix, winning a World Championship. So it has such a beautiful thing. So that's why I decided to take the car. I put it on the deck on the boat. Whatever I did with the car in the corner, you know, braking, turning in, going close to apex, accelerating. The car did exactly what I wanted to do. So that gave me such a great confidence that when I wake up every morning, I knew I could win.
But didn't you have a moment very late on at Rascasse?
I did actually, and I was leading a race all the way, and I thought this race never gonna end. You know, it's such a challenge, this track, and physically, mentally, I was already very exhausted, and because I was leading in quite a big margin, I starting already to slow down a bit, you know, taking it easy. So that is very dangerous. If you slow down with the Formula 1 car, the tire temperatures go down, engine temperatures go down, brake temperatures go down. So when you do that, the car is not anymore performing so well because they are designed to go flat out. So in Rascasse corner, I just turned in a little bit too early, and the rear corner of the car, that's the Armco, and this is like 5 laps before the end, and I thought that's it. That's it. But luckily the McLaren, they changed the suspension parts for the race, so luckily it was strong enough to take that stress.
Would you have been able to retire happy had you not won the Monaco Grand Prix?
Yeah, it would be horrible. Winning Monaco is a really important part in your career. And because the Monaco Grand Prix takes so much effort to win here. So when you win in Monaco, that means that way you have a very good chance also to win the World Championship. So winning Monaco is unbelievable.
Is it easier to drive the Monaco Formula 1 track today than years gone by?
The cars, I would say they are getting more challenging, simply because they are so quick, they are so fast. Reaction time has to be incredible. But if you go back on time a little bit, in a history, driving the racing car was much more physical because you had a manual gearbox, you had no power steering, brakes weren't so developed, the tires didn't have not so much grip. So it was physically really demanding. And it's even today, it's demanding. But I would say in old days it was even harder.
Now, if you were to go Mercedes versus Ferrari, who would you rather be driving for at this point in the season?
We have seen in the past that way to how the Red Bull is getting stronger and stronger towards the end of the season. But what do I see the strength what Mercedes has? They have 2 great drivers who work very closely together. Because to be a world champion, being a great driver, you have to be a great communicator. You have to communicate with the team extremely well. And the Mercedes has 2 drivers who communicate extremely well with the team.
Whilst there's a number of drivers that call Monaco home, there's only one that can truly call themselves Monegasque, and that is Sauber's Charles Leclerc. So despite the fact he's only in his first season in Formula 1, you'd think he'd be pretty comfortable amidst the glitz and the glam of the Amber Lounge fashion show. Monaco native, this is second nature to you, fashion show on a Friday night?
Well, it's something pretty new. I've done it last year, but it's only the second time, and it's not really my job, so I don't really feel at my place when I'm on it, but it's good fun.
What does it mean to you, standing here on a Monaco Grand Prix race weekend?
It's a dream come true since child. I'm watching the Grand Prix, hoping to be there one day driving with them, and this day is happening now, so it's obviously something I've worked all my life to have.
When did you first think, you know what, I want to take part in that?
I was probably 3.5 years old, watching the Grand Prix at an apartment of my best friend. I was playing with the small cars, watching the Formula 1 Grand Prix at the same time, and yeah, I just wanted to go in these cars and drive it. I could remember I was at school the Thursday, and I could hear the Formula 1 engines at that time, and yeah. One time on tour, I was just saying to my mom I was ill to then go to watch the Formula 1 Grand Prix.
Overall, if we step aside from Monaco, how has your first few races been? Did you expect to get those first points so early?
No, definitely not. We expected to have quite a bit of performance in Baku because it's a track that combines goes very well with our car. But in Barcelona has been a big surprise to score 1 point.
Are you thinking about the bigger picture of your career and what next?
Not really. I'm really doing step by step, focusing on 2018 for now, and then we'll see what are the opportunities at the end of 2018 for 2019. But yeah, I think I just need to keep pushing, keep improving, and keep working like we did with the team since the beginning of the season, and then hopefully I will have the right opportunity at the end of the season.
And how big a boost was it for the team, and not just for yourself, but for the team, having a visit from Prince Albert this weekend?
He has always been supportive in my career and always believed in me, and yeah, we were speaking and looking back at my career, starting in karting when we first met until now that I'm in Formula 1, so it's yeah, it's great.
So Monaco 2018 is in the books, and it's Daniel Ricciardo and Red Bull celebrating. But that's it from me and the team for this edition of the circuit. Thanks for joining us. Next time we'll be just along the coast in France, looking ahead to the return of the French Grand Prix. See you then. Goodbye.